Howdy dowdy and hey, I'm what's happening. Welcome y'all to the Royal Key. So, this week's Royal Key will be this Royal Key will be another King's List, because that's the only type of videos I've been able to make, in between working and like playing my Switch and my Nintendo DS and like not wanting to do anything. But I have lots of things to discuss, so I'm going to be talking about specifically in this video, Real World Homecoming episodes 2 through 6. So I started the season, I was going to do like episode by episode, but then like the second episode, I didn't watch the third episode. And I'm like, I mean, they're just going to have 6 episodes, so let's just mix it in the pot and let's get it together. And then also, I'm glad that I decided to do that because as I was watching through the shows and like making notes just so I can, recap and review, I'm like, they ain't talking about much. Like, it's the same stuff, episode after episode. So, a lot of what I said in the first episode, and like, especially like the spoiler preview, whatever, like, is what takes place. So, I'm gonna talk a little bit about, in general, my overall thoughts of the show, my overall thoughts of each castmate, and then, like, I guess, like, add in some storylines and things like that. So, without further ado, so what I love the most about this show is, the OG Real World Girls from 1992, they did a lot of parallels. So they did a lot of parallels from them filming, like from conversations that they had, like this year, 2021, through 1992, like a lot of parallels of like, do y'all remember this? Do y'all remember that? And like I said in the last video, I'm a sucker for anything nostalgia, like, baby girl, like I love it. Give me more. So I think that was cute. I love the little side-by-sides. It showed that a lot of the characters they're not characters, they're real people. But a lot of the castmates didn't really change that much. Like they've changed, they've grown, they've matured, but like they're still in a lot of ways the same. And that's not a bad thing for some folks. But I thought that was interesting of like, you can still see their personalities like 30 years later. Like, baby, you still goofy, you still funny as hell, you still shady as hell, and all those types of things. So, I think I want to sort of do this by like my favorite-ish characters to like my least favorite. Which, my favorite character is my girl Heather B. That's my girl. I keep saying characters, they're castmates. Woo! Woo! But my favorite castmate, I would say, is Heather B. That's my girl. Like, it's something about her and her energy that I feel like really I can connect with, I can vibe with. I think that she was the life of the party. She was very much so the one who showed a lot of like, her path, her journey, her struggles and things of that nature. But also she likes to bring light and levity to any situation. So I saw the relationships that she had with everybody. Like she joked with E-Nice all the time. Talking about, I know you want this, knowing that she's fully married. And I don't know who Eric with, but knowing she's fully married, she don't want that white man. But like, like playing around, joking around, like she bought the drinks. Like you can definitely tell she's a personality. Like you can definitely tell she does radio, TV, like something. And I want to see more. Like I would love to see, and I might check out some of her stuff. I don't really... Child, the podcast I was supposed to be listening to, I haven't heard. I done bought about 16 audibles this pandemic that I haven't heard, child. So, I don't know if I want to add another thing on, but like Heather definitely gets my attention. And I always, every time she's on, I'm like, okay, what's she talking about now? And I really liked, like the very last episode when I got to talk with the producers, I really liked how she talked about, she wished that they would have showed her story with her and her dad and like basically talked about how messed up that was that she, like a lot of black women, a lot of black girls, like they have great relationships with their fathers and you don't necessarily see that on TV. And I'm like, I would argue like with black father representation, you don't really see that much on like these reality TV shows and stuff like that. Sometimes they there, sometimes they not. Anywho, that was important. It was 1992. And like what I really, really loved is she was like, y'all messed up with me, y'all missed me, all these types of things. But MTV, don't let that happen to the next girl. Share her story with her father. Share these black people's stories. Like, it's more than just what you see. And like, they gave you stereotype teas of like, she was a rapper and she was in this label group and like, she rapped about all these, I can't even think of the word. Promiscuous is not the word. What's it called? Like, all these controversial type things. Like, that's what rap is all about. Like, provocative. That's the word I was looking for. So, yes, so of course they showed that and brought that to the forefront, but they didn't bring any more of like her humanity and her humanness, which was one of the things I was going to say about her too. Like, you don't really see much about her. She's super relatable, but like, what do you really know about Heather B? So I guess like when I take a step back and like look at the actual Real World series, which I'm glad I didn't watch, y'all. If I was going to watch a season about 30-something episodes, for these 6 episodes, I would have been pissed off. And like, I get the context, I get the people who, whatever. But anyway, Heather B's my girl. I done moved the camera. Shake the table. But one thing that I really liked about Heather as well is that she did reflections and like, she like whatever things. Like, she asked herself questions and stuff like, what did you learn? And basically the higher ed in me, the educator in me loves those type of reflective questions on anything. Like, I would definitely be that person that's like, all right, this is the reflection wall. So like, what did you learn? Like, how are you different from 1992? Like, baby, when I tell you, like, Heather, we see each other, girl, cause same. So that was nice to sort of like pull that out of people. Production, y'all should have did a better job at that. Like, y'all brought them here, and for what? Y'all brought them here so we can see them engage, and that's great and that's nice. But I don't think that they really, which it's a pandemic. It was early January, we're still in the pandemic. And this is before like, all these vaccines and stuff we got. Girl, I got my first shot. But anyway, I wish that they would have shown production like at the end. They asked a bit more questions, but like, I wish they would have like not stirred the pot because we don't need more drama, but like really ask provocative questions. But the house guest did. So my next favorite, I would say, would be Kevin. I love my black girls. Oh my goodness, y'all, they did Kevin dirty in Real World, and not this Homecoming, but the actual Real World. When I tell you so much unseen footage that they kept airing, and so many of the fights that they kept airing, and it was like, he was the one that they wanted to have at. He was the heavyweight champ, okay? Like, everybody wanted to go at it with him. And it's like, it's nasty for me to see as a black. It's nasty for me to see as a black masculine presenting person, seeing another black man go through this. I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling of the ostracization of, oh Lord, Kevin gonna have another issue. And even like from Heather, and like I just said, and like I said in my last video, Heather is my girl down boots. I don't know these people, but like, Heather is my girl. And it's like, she didn't even have Kevin's back. No one did. She didn't even have Kevin's back. And it's like, to be in a house with 6 other strangers, and like, 1 is 2 of y'all who are black, everybody is white. They could be all these different types of white, because they were different types of white. But y'all were the 2 that were black. And it's like, that hurt me to my core a little bit. And it's like, Heather, I didn't see necessarily Heather get, whatever. But of course, like, when you're the funny, when you're the light, when you're like not really challenging people, you're not going to get that. And of course they don't want to seem racist. They already at odds with 1 black person. What would it look like if they had odds with 2 black people in 1992 on national television? I mean, reality TV. But, I think that was, they dirty. And that's why they try to show so much of like this unseen footage, and like all these people saying like, oh my gosh, Kevin, thank you so much, pause, which I'm sure that they've had these conversations with him off camera and beforehand. But girl, don't give him his flowers now. Y'all dog the hell out of this man. Y'all got mad because he talked to y'all about y'all privilege. Y'all got mad because he talked to y'all about not understanding black issues, that y'all villainized him. And that, in this reality TV, it was the 90s, and it's still happening now with black folks. But it's just like, I want an MTV to fucking say something. Like, especially the production team did their little thing at the end. Where's Kevin's flowers? And I'll get to that later about like, what happened towards the end. But I didn't like how they did my man Kevin. I did not like how they did my man Kevin. But, growth is a beautiful thing. And he also acknowledged a lot of the ways that he was problematic and things of that nature, which we all are. So while I'm saying that they did Kevin wrong, Kevin probably got under their skin about some things that wasn't, that I guess that he would see as par for the course. And it was edited out, whatever may have you. But yeah, but I will say, Kevin, my girl too. Like, he stood his ground back then, and he stood his ground now. He had an issue with Becky that he had to go back and forth with. And it's just like, yeah. I also didn't like, now I love Kevin, I love all the things he has to say, but I felt like they made him be the, like, activist person. So they made him be the one to, like, to educate everyone. And not just the cast, but the viewers. And I was like, why is it his job? But I mean, girl, he does it well. But once again, why is it his job? Why does he have to, like, you know, he tried to educate y'all back then, y'all didn't want to hear it. So it's like, I kind of see it as like, okay, maybe they're now finally giving him the chance and giving him that platform. But one, it's too little too late. And two, like, that's labor and stuff on him. But also, it's camera time and things like that. So bravo to him. Anyway, next, my girl, Julie. I did not think I was going to like Julie. From seeing the first episode, I saw the first, like, 4 episodes. And then seeing her in the first episode, and then being like, oh, the show was going to be about Julie and Eric. I did not like that girl from a can of paint. I said, forget her. Bye. She's just a simple, you know, a typical white, which I'm always at pause when I see white women, because you never know which one you gonna get, and most of the times it's bad. But that was the one we should have had our eye out on. It was the other one. But, like, I mean, she had the pathology showed. Her dad was problematic as hell and racist, but after seeing more and more of the episodes and seeing more and more about how the folks interact, how everyone interacts with one another, I was like, okay. So Julie has learned her lesson, and she has grown, and she's really trying to make sure she puts this forth for her kids to know her effing mistakes that she made, because she made a few of them. And, like, you know, just the apologeticness and, like, just the sincerity that I got from her, from Cameron, don't know the girl. And just, yeah, like, I love someone who comes from a place of privilege that can own that, name that, talk about their past, talk about how ignorant they were, and say how they're trying to move forward and how they're continuously educating themselves. I love that, and how they're learning from their past mistakes and don't want to, you know, especially when it comes to children in the next generation. Like, I don't want that to happen. So I give my Julie her kudos for that. At first, I thought in the first episode she was doing that for kudos, she was doing that for claps. I didn't think it was real, but she talked about how, you know, she brought her kids to, like, they were watching the inaugural something. It was some type of march with Obama. I should know these things, but I don't. But it was some type of march with Obama, and, like, they were in Selma, Alabama, and then she was like, well, that's not too far from where we are. Let's head out there and let's go. Got her kids in the car and brought them there. She's like, you know, and I don't know if, like, I did the right thing. Yes, you did. Expose their ass. They need to be uncomfortable. We uncomfortable all the time in our skin, so they need to be the minoritized group in the bunch. So, like, just things like that. I'm like, girl, I fucks with you. A+, Julie. I would say my next person who I really like, it's a tie between E-Nice and Norman, but I think I'm just going to talk about Norman because I talked about E-Nice a little bit already. But Norman is hilarious. I also didn't think I would like him because he was real close with Becky, and I didn't really know how to take him. I didn't know he was openly queer. Kudos and congratulations and all those things, girl. We needed that in 1992. We needed that representation, like, busting open the doors for these reality girls. You know, like, it was nice to sort of see some of, like, the flashbacks and see some of the things that he did. You know, I like the little nostalgia side by sides, and just see him authentically living in his truth and living in himself, and, like, even sharing some of the, you know, traumatic things that happened to him as well. But, like, still not let that take a smile off his face. He's a goofball, and he's still a goofball. So, like, I think that that's very important. Especially, like he talked about, like, and then production even talked about, which were the production folks, the original blah, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. He a gay man himself. And he was talking about how Norman helped him. And Norman was like, they were all in their late teens, like early 20s, if they was 20s. So it's just like, that's something too. Or no, maybe they all were 20s. Julie was just like 18 or something. Anyway. Yeah, so, like, I think that, yeah, that was very important. He also was the only one who I feel like really let us in on his, like, current problems, which, like, financially, because I feel like the other girls didn't really, like, they were careful in what they showed, because, hey, I'm on here for 6 days, like, y'all don't need to know all my life. Y'all don't need to know all my tea. I don't want to be a reality personality. Like, and that's what I love, and that's what's so refreshing about watching people who like old, you know, OG, whatever. Like when they come back, because they were in this before it became this big thing. They were in it, you know, when it was a docuseries. They was in it when it was like a documentary. Like, you know, like it was like the very early stages. It wasn't no what personality do I need to fit. It was just being yourself. And like that's in turn what I feel like they were doing, is just being themselves just 30 years later, or 29 to be specific. But yeah, so I really vibed with that. I really fucked with that. But I think that, yeah, like it was nice that he showed us that, like, you know, he patented this little laptop thing or whatever, buy it, girl, whatever it is, give him some money. He was painting, he stopped painting and stuff like that. Like, it's nice to see, just once again, that reality of all these things. Because while I love all the other girls who was there, like, y'all not really showing us y'all's problems. So big kudos to Norman for that. And then going off to E-Nice, that's my other girl. I was just so fed up and annoyed that he had COVID, and like it could have been prevented. 1000% could have been prevented. Like, I think that's what annoys me the most when I think about so yeah, so I think like E-Nice. Now, you know damn well, like, if everybody else quarantined when they were supposed to, what the hell were you doing that you were the one to get COVID? Nobody talks about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. And I ain't look at the blogs event like that. But I want to know, no, what the hell, who was you screwing, doing whatever you was doing to contract COVID? Well, you gonna be here for a week, and I really thought they were gonna surprise us, and like, you know, like, he didn't show up at all in the show. He was still in New York, so I did love how they were able to go back and forth and see him in like what little loft or whatever that they had, not the loft, but like he was in another like apartment type thing. I know he was like upset. Like I can imagine him being upset. Like I would be upset. I'd be like, girl, but fuck this COVID shit. Like if some of them think it's real, because you know a lot of girls didn't think that COVID was real, so. Surprise. And a part of me also feel like this is like a production thing, like a production, like not plant, but like, girl, what are the odds that somebody gets COVID? And like, y'all couldn't reschedule that, like, y'all are everybody's that busy. So anywho, and I would love, like, I hope they have like a reunion or something, like, to where they all, but that's not gonna be possible. I get to my last person. But like, you know, like, I wish that he would have been present with everybody, because he missed on a lot of the hugs. He missed on a lot of the tea that they didn't want the cameras to know. So I will say that too. Like, a lot of the girls, which I want to say Heather brought that up about like how you missing all the da-da-da-da. Somebody said that to him. And like, no, he really is missing all the tea. Hold on, let me make sure this light is good. Child, I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on, let me see. My bad, having a little bit of technical difficulties. I don't know if it's because I'm so used to looking at this screen or what, but y'all know I'm a chocolate fella. So I gotta make sure I can see these good chocolate skin on this camera. Otherwise, I'm not that good at my editing yet to, anyway. Back to the story, back to everything. Yeah, E-Nice, girl, you know damn well that you could have, I don't know. I feel like he damn near got COVID from something, or they gave him COVID. He ain't really had COVID. That was just like a storyline, but he missed out on all the tea. He missed out on all the good stuff that they could say off camera, because there was no camera all the time, which I enjoy, because they do need their privacy. As much as I want to know all the tea that's going on in their lives, like, they didn't sign up to be reality television stars and reality television personalities. Like, they are doing this reunion because, like, one, they're the original cast, and it's so large now, like, you know, and I'll get into it a little bit later. I'll get into, yeah, they didn't sign up to be reality stars and XYZ. So yeah, the next person I would say is Andre. I don't really feel no types of way about Andre. He's cool, he's chill. I think he probably about the most, well, I mean, I guess he's changed. I guess he was a playboy, flirt, slob, whatever, Bob. Like, he definitely looks a lot cleaner now. But he's a father, he's a husband, he has his beautiful little girl, his beautiful daughter, which I don't know what it is about these girls who was on reality television in the early 2000s, 90s, that like are just not having their kids, like their first kids. Like, girl, And like, I don't know if he had anything, so I don't want to make light of it. I don't know if he had, like, if him and his wife or whatever had any issues with fertility or anything of that nature. Once again, that's something that they didn't show. That's why I liked Norman, because Norman showed us a little bit more about like where he's at now, not just the transition of where you are now of like Julie talking about, I'm no longer racist, ha ha ha. Like, no, like, where are you actually now? And I didn't really get that in Andre. But he was cool, he was sure. Andre, what I do like about him is Andre gives me very much so, don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you vibes. Like, if it don't apply, let it fly. Like, I love that because you need that energy. Like, you don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to attach yourself to everything. Just because you know don't mean you need to let the world know that you know. And I think that Andre has definitely coined that. And it could be the maturity from him being a father, from him not trying to look like a fool on national TV, which I think all of them were very cognizant of like, let's not look like a fool. Like, I think a lot of them were still, besides my girl Heather, because she's used to being a personality. And I think that Kevin also is used to being a speaker and an orator. But I think the rest of the folks were like a little like camera shy. So, not Norman, but so to speak, if that makes sense. And I think Andre was as well. He also didn't know what the hell was going on. I remember like the last episode, he was like recording, I think like a brief reflection. And then he was like, did I record? Oh, I'm not doing that again. If I didn't record shit, me. But yeah, so not only this bitch that had a lot to say about me in the press and the blogs. Becky was good. I do not like Becky. I didn't like Becky initially, but I was like, she gives very stuck up, snobby artist vibes, if that makes sense. It does, because that's what she gives. But like, she gives very much so like, I went to like a liberal arts, like, or not even at a private art school. Like, like she gives me very much so like, bouge, elitist. And that's what she gave on the show. And I think that she is very much so a Becky, very much so a Karen, very much so everything that she said she didn't want to portray herself to be. And she is that. I feel, my opinion, all this is my opinion, I think she is that at her core, but I do not think she's as bad as a lot of these people are. But I think what makes her so bad is her unwillingness to take any sort of accountability. So, back to what I was saying about that didn't sound to be a reality TV star. She kept saying something around that nature of like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to make this drama and da 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 da. I didn't want to do that back then. And it was just so hard for me to be here. And da da da. It's hard for everyone to be there. Everyone's a parent for the most part. I don't know if Kevin got kids. But I think everybody else. No, I think Kevin got kids. I don't know. But I don't know if Eric got kids. But everybody got lives. Nonetheless, like, you don't have to have a kid to have a life. Everyone has these lives that they have to fucking go back to, and that's why they're only doing this for a week. So, like, Becky, you weren't the only one. Like, that's what upset me a little bit. Or a lot of it. Like, why are you acting like the diva? If anybody should be the diva, it should be Kevin, because y'all ate him up every chance, and he ate y'all ass up every damn chance and left no goddamn on crumbs. But it's, like, frustrating to me, because it's like, why do you think that you're the exception of like the one who like Denise Richards on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when she bravo, stop filming. Like, that's the energy that Becky gave me. Like, when she didn't want to film no more, bravo, MTV, Paramount. That's the energy she sort of gave me. And I didn't like that because I'm like, you're not above anybody here. I don't care how much money you have. And the thing that really got her is because, like I said, they did a lot of the side-by-sides. They did a lot of the... So, a part of night. And now, since I'm done with talking about, like, my characters or whatever, or the cast, lol, I'll talk a little bit more about the show. But, like, in every episode, they watched the clip. They sat on the couch. They called E-Nice on, like, FaceTime or whatever. And it was like, okay, like, let's look at this clip from our past. This is what they told us we were going to see. They told us we were going to be releasing some conversations that we had that might be unfinished. Because that's what a reunion, that's what a homecoming is about. That's what anything is about. Closure. It's about how do we sort of, like, wrap this up and move on. And I think a lot of people wrapped up a lot of things and moved on except for this bitch. And what bothered me about that is that I think she was so easy going to watch everybody else hash out their problems, but then when it came to her, she had no problem. So when they brought up the conversation that she had with I was about to call his name Roger, Kevin, about, just indigenous folks and just in general, like her white obliviousness. Excuse me? Like, no, like you're way off base. Like, you're way off base, Kevin. What are you talking about? Oh, okay, so yeah, I had to go back to my notes because I'm done with like the whatever. So, I wrote down like a lot of the clips that they were referring to, and like, somebody made a context, or not context, somebody made a comment about like, skin color and not being something that needs to be talked about. And then like, Julie talks about meeting people where they're at and stuff like that. And then it's just a montage of Becky's white privilege ness. like there's no other way to put it. Like her, bragging even currently, talking about, oh, well, me and my family went to Monaco to go see Chester and, the Louvre and all these things. Like, you're talking about, which is fine, which is dandy. Like, girl, go ahead and do you. But also don't be afraid to get called out on it. Like, I love a bad bitch who can own the fact that they a bad bitch and like, oh yeah, like, girl, yes, I do go to the Louvre just because I want to motherfucking eat a damn sandwich. Like, like, own that. That's cool. But to be, what's the problem with that? Why is there, like, you're taking an issue that it's an issue. You're taking an issue that people are saying, like, well, Ricky, you don't really seem that conscious or that aware. She brought up that she was a part of this dance group, this whatever, and like that's how she learned. Like, basically saying she had black friends, and basically she's saying she had black people who vouched for her, so she could say the N word because she know she didn't go that far. But like, basically that's where she was getting at, and they were saying, well, that doesn't make you not racist. And then like, even like, I don't want to talk about color. I don't want to talk about these conversations. Like, we were just both in a heated situation. And he was like, well, I wasn't heated. I was trying to explain, which, girl, you was a little bothered, which is fine. It's a different implication for me, a black queer person, saying that Kevin had, like, he had some emotion, some range versus a white woman trying to sort of like say that he had all this animosity, all this anger, all this vitriol towards her, sort of victimizing herself. I'm not victimizing myself. I'm like, you black girl. I got an attitude. I see you got an attitude. But for her, it wasn't really that. It was, well, Kevin, you did start off and you were like, whoa. So was I.